the mic? Thank you. Test. Yeah, that's better. So Janine, thank you for inviting me to talk about my experience with online education. And I have to apologize. I will first start very idealistic, and then I will talk about the practice. So like our experiment with online education. It's not an holy drill, but we have some interesting results, and I hope it will inspire you to also think different about education. So it's more a complementary tool. So first, the idealistic part, Article 26. So human rights, everybody has the right to have education, and it's even based on merit. You have the right to higher education. And unfortunately, if you look in the world, this is not the case yet. There are many barriers, so a fast-growing population. In the first 3 decades of this century, the number of students in higher education will quadruple worldwide. So that's an enormous challenge. And we have other barriers. One of the barriers, of course, that the higher education is not accessible for everyone. There are still financial barriers all over the world. Even if we talk about a country like the US with top universities, not everybody has access there to the higher education. And in different parts of the world, it's also playing an important role. Then here, this is always a slide I use. This is the king of Sicily in the 11th century teaching his students. And I must say, it does not look much different from the classroom how I have it often. So there's also not been that much progress in education. And this is a personal frustration. So local challenges, if you look here in the Netherlands, because here we're talking about data, programs focused on technology. If you look here, this is the statistics of 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, the Netherlands, we only deliver 16% of our students in higher education in a technical program. We are rock bottom in Europe. And that's quite important because here I have, for instance, if you compare this percentage to, for instance, the total percentage of energy installed in renewable energy, this is a topic which I'm focusing on, you see there is a clear relation, except for countries which have a real industry policy or countries which are swimming in hydroelectricity. You see that implementation of new technologies also means that technology has to be embraced in the culture itself. And so in the Netherlands, like if the government thinks they want to have big steps in this direction, also means that we have to focus on students in technology. And Rob already said the example here at the university at the moment, we're walking into our limits. Like we have many teachers making many hours, and we get more and more students, so we have also local challenges, how to tackle them. And we have more international students. Many challenges. So we at Delft University, we started doing an experiment 3-4 years ago, and we offered up to date around 36 courses online. And many of these are bachelor courses. We offered them online and doing this experiment, and in the so-called MOOCs. So what is this market worldwide? So what are we talking about? What are the numbers? So at the end of 2015, worldwide 35 million students enrolled in kind of MOOC, online course. And it was last year, was in total that year 20 million students enrolled in the course. So the total number of students doubled. And Delft contributed with that last year 700,000, and in June we contributed with already 1 million students enrolled. So Delft, we have 2% of that world market. If you look, Delft is one of the 6,000 research universities in the world. You have a larger share in online education than the ratio would justify. And that's quite interesting. Also, if you look like LinkedIn, They have bought 2 years ago lynda.com. That's also an online education provider, and that provides education to professionals. So in this online business, people believe that there are business models, but also you can have change education and have impact on that. So I would like to talk about my experience with a course which we offer here also on campus of TU Delft, the solar energy course, a massive open online course. So for people who don't know what is massive, massive means you have a lot of students. At the moment we have 4 editions in the English version, we have 2 editions in the Arabic version, so in total we already have over 185,000 students enrolled in this course. We have now a new renewable energy course, and in the first edition we have 12,000 students enrolled in the course, and this course finished yesterday, last Tuesday. Open, it means that all the material is freely available. That is to the extent nowadays, if you would like to have a certificate, ID for verified certificate, you have to pay $49 for that. But the whole material is freely available for everyone. Online means all the interaction happen online. So all the lectures, all the exercises, all the discussions happens interactions among students, but also student-teacher. It happens online. And it's a course, as I said, it's a course just as I'm teaching here at the university. It's a course I'm teaching in the 3rd year bachelor and in the minor renewable energy, and it's the solar energy course. So exactly the same material is being offered online. So, and how does that look like? Like in a lecture room, you're usually giving a lecture 2 times 45 minutes, and you're sending to your students. Online, it means that you have to cut these lectures in short video clips of 7 to 10 minutes, because the attention span of the student apparently is not longer than 7 minutes. And we have strong statistics, which also proves that online. And let's see. The video is going too fast. So this is one thing, and so that we offer. So how does it look on the platform? Here you see that if a student has finished his lecture, then he has some practice questions. So he can test whether he understood what I was trying to explain. At the end of the week, there are usually assignments or exams, and if the student then at the end of 8 weeks gets more than 60% of the score, then he gets a certificate. So this is how it looks like. It also gives you a lot of possibilities. Like here you see, there are discussions. Students can share their experience in this topic online. Very interesting, I will come back to that. Also, with material, like here in my MOOC was the first one, so we had to really show off. So I used the whole infrastructure and made a lot of animations, which I'm still using on conferences. But you see here with an animation, you can explain a very complex concept within 1 minute, while it takes thousands of words to explain it to a broad audience. You can also go on location. This is in our PV education lab, photovoltaic education lab, and here you see, for instance, how we can test and characterize modules in the lab. So you can also do on locations. You can make videos, or here another example is in our Elsenkoi laboratory, where we process very thin, very small lab-scale solar cells. So on locations, you can give also examples and include that in your education. But the most interesting thing of this MOOC is, like in the first edition we had 60,000 students, second was 30,000, third edition in English, so around 30,000, and now again 30,000 students. You have critical mass. You can do things which are not able in a classroom of 50 or 100 people. And this critical mass is, for instance, students can help each other. You have discussion on the platform where one student is saying like, oh, I'm working already for 2 hours on this exercise, but I cannot arrive at the correct answer. And then you have 10 students who respond to that, oh, you should do this, this, and this, and they try to explain it. 3 of the students explain it in the wrong way, and they are corrected again by other students, and so it's a self-regulating system, and as a teacher you only have to sit and see how it regulates itself, and students are learning from each other, peer-to-peer. So that's a big advantage. You can do experiments I had in the first week a video clip where I tried to explain the history of solar energy technology in 10 minutes. And doing that, you can only make enemies in the world, because you cannot include every professor or company in the video. So yeah, to protect myself, then at the end of the video, what did you miss and what is for you the most important development in solar energy technology? So then we start to have a lot of technology discussions, but you also have a lot of students sending in material from the last century on where so much material that you can write a total book on solar energy technology of material, but you didn't get. It's even very interesting, like the photovoltaic history is being written mainly by the Americans. And NASA started with satellites, and that is like the Bell Labs. They made the first crystalline silicon solar cell of 6%. Doing this course in the Arabic version, there was a big discussion in Jordan, because in Jordan there was already 20 years before Bell Labs a professor there who came to America, and General Electric did similar work, completely forgotten. And this is also things you get back from a MOOC like that. You reach out to so many people, and you can rewrite history again, although you thought you were one of the experts in the field yourself. So all kind of examples of the critical mass. You can also do experiments. So like here, we asked the student to send in photos of their own solar energy system, or that of the neighbors and stuff like that. So you see that we got a lot of photos. I think we still have the biggest database of installed solar energy systems around the world. And a lot of people are using this database for also their own, like companies are looking in it to find examples. How should you not install a PV system, or how should you install? So there's a lot of interaction going on. You can also have experiments. So here's an experiment what we did with the students. We asked, for instance, how much blackouts do you have in your electricity network? How much sun hours do you have? What is the cost price of the electricity you have to pay coming out of the socket? All these experiments, and basically within 3 hours, 2,000 students responded, and we have this big map. Where we take the product of sun hours times the cost price, because that shows more or less the electricity locally, that shows the potential of solar energy. So here you see the light colors have a high potential at the moment, the dark colors have a less potential in the market currently. But you see, for someone in Brussels, the European Union, to do this, that takes 1 year of work. We had it in 3 hours. So you can be very creative, and you can also think on concepts where you could use these kind of tools for your own research. And this is an example,
not longer than 2 minutes, in which you talk about your solar energy system.
So we asked the students around the world to send in their own videos about their own systems. No, that should not be sound over here. So to talk about their own systems. Here he's still talking them around the world about their own systems, of the neighbor of their own systems. And this is also a very nice interaction, because students are discussing their own movies and learning from each other. So this is a quite interesting tool what you also have. And the most interesting thing is that, for me, also all the students get a face. They're all people who want to help to contribute to the energy transition in the world. And even more important, sometimes you get the mails of the people who say, like, Arno, I only had 2 hours of electricity per day. And I followed, I did your course in an internet cafe, and now you have given me the skills to build my own solar energy system. So now I have 24 hours electricity a day, and now I'm trying my whole village also to get their own systems over there, getting some subsidies and stuff like that. And for instance, here this is Andreas Contreras from Colombia, and he's a student who had the same experience, and he is now working to get his whole village on electricity. So by simple transferring some, in principle, very simple technical knowledge, you can help to improve the living standards of people. And to my opinion, this is up to date the biggest achievement what we did with this MOOC. You could really help people. It's not all positive. This is the activity rate in a typical MOOC, what you see, and this is also what a lot of people use as criticisms, like the massive open online courses. Yeah, that is a very low efficiency rate. We should not waste our money on this. That would be true if this would be a replacement of a real course on campus. Then it would be a very expensive exercise. But if you already look at this plot, I lost count, but last year, at the end of the year, we were in around 6,000 certificates, students around the world who got a certificate. This course on campus, the last years, I have around 45 students in this course with a minor. So it means that if I do simple calculations, I did something like 131 years of education, but then worldwide. But even this is not the biggest market what you have over here, because when I travel around the world on conferences, you meet a lot of students that followed your course, and hardly any one of them is saying like, "Oh, Arno, I finished your course," because there's 95% of the students did not finish your course. But they all say like, "Oh, thanks, because your course inspired me to go in this direction." Or thanks to your course, I went to that university or that university. Or we even have people here at TU Delft who come to Delft from outside the European Union, inspired from our MOOCs, and they think like, Delft, that's the place to be. We want to study. So it's also a scouting tool. We get people in which are high talent. But if you then look in more detail, this is for my MOOC, but it's also for most of the MOOCs. Like 70% of the students are professionals. They already have a job, and they only do this to make to broaden their world, to make promotion, or the boss is telling them to follow this. So long life learning. There's a big interest in this teaching method. 25% are students around the world, and they do it because some universities, they're already giving credits for these MOOCs, or they use this MOOC to prepare for an exam. And so there are many reasons why students, or just to orientate themselves which master's program they want to do, or where they want to specialize in. So these are the typical students. So a little bit like statistics then. So here you see a typical age distribution for the solar energy course. And you see indeed the students is 25%, and the rest is all professionals or people who are just interested in this topic. And the very funny thing is that from all the MOOCs, like the percentage of women in the course is 16%. And that's topic related. For instance, water management and other MOOC, they are 28%. So if you see the markets where we are in US, India and stuff like that, there is in the genes or somehow there's a fixed percentage which is interested in solar energy. So that's rather straightforward. So this is like we are with Delft on the edX platform. Very important to be on one of the big platforms, because there you have all the many students registered. Coursera is the biggest one, and those two are already more than 50% of the market. We also did an Arabic version on ETRAG, and last week we finally, after 2 years of struggling with this Chinese platform, we signed a contract, and we also going to do it in Chinese. So this is an example. So here you see, for instance, like dark colors just mean there we have a lot of students. So you see the biggest markets are India. India is a very big country, like we're going from 1.1 billion people to very soon 1.4 billion people. They have to educate a new generation of 500 million people in the coming 20 years. And their education infrastructure is at the moment not capable to handle it all. So there we see a lot of interest. The US is big, but like in South America we have Brazil, Ecuador, Chile are countries which are rather big. In Africa it's Morocco, Egypt, Nigeria. In Europe we have, like in the Mediterranean, Spain, Greece, but also England, Germany is rather big. Russia is a bit like, we don't have many students in China, not many students, because we send through a YouTube channel and that is apparently blocked. But that's also why we are going to start with the Certec X also to have access to the Chinese market, because solar energy is also a very big topic over there. And here you see the Arabic version. And here we did that. We had now over 38,000 students in 2 goes in this area. And here you see a group of students from Egypt, Jordan, Yemen, which we invited, that were the best students, who also did a 1-week workshop here at the university. And it's quite inspiring to see that those people are lacking the infrastructure to do this experimental work, to get familiar with all the components to build a PV system, and it was very nice and inspiring to work with these students. We also did it for the English versions. We had many students around. Here you see an example from like a scouting tool. So here this is Abdul Razak. He was inspired by 2 courses which offered by Delft, solar energy and one of Berlin, database handling. So he has chosen to come to Delft, and we have many students which, based on the MOOCs, now decide to come over to Delft to study. And then here you see an example of how I use my course on campus. Because usually, in a lecture, you mainly sending to the students, and the students are always sitting there fighting not fall asleep and stuff like that. At least that's how I experience my academic career in the lecture rooms. And what you see over here, these are my students in a flipped classroom model, and you see I was still doing nothing, but now they are sweating. So what they're doing, the idea is, of course, everybody's familiar with that, is that they watch the lectures at home, and I'm in the lecture room. We only looking at solving problems. So you increase the interactivity with the students a lot, and the students. Basically, one of the tricks is you double the contact time. The contact time at home at sending, you don't have to be really present to do that, but in the lecture room you have very interactive contact with the students. I have to say, the devil is in the details over here, the flipped classroom concept. Like for this course, we have an example now that the last 2 years, we really see that the performance is getting higher with exactly the same type of exam and the level. So it's mainly, you get more structure of the students in the gray area, you see here around 4, 5, and 6. And so that passing rates went up from typically around 70% to almost 90% for this course. 70% of the students prefer this in reference to the classical way of teaching, and the 13% who didn't like it were also the students who never showed up in the lecture rooms. And you become more effective. So appreciation is going up. You're more effective, and so everybody was more or less happy with this. I also have to say that this is the 3rd-year students. We also have some experiments in the 1st year where the students are apparently not mature enough. So the devil is in the details. It's not a hard proof that this is working. We have now done an experiment we have a new renewable energy, which we do on bachelor level. But we had to make also a new course very fast for the 1st quarter here at the TU Delft. So what I do, I use the basis of all those topics, And what you see over here, like I have a total 20 hours of contact time in the first quarter, and we did a lot of exercises. I've just tortured them with only all the type of topics and stuff like that. So, but you become very efficient, and you can very quickly also develop courses if you already have some backup lectures. And, so that managed me, although I'm also busy 70 to 80 hours a week, that managed me to make a course like 3-4 years ago that would have taken me a year to construct something like that. But also, it's interesting, it also gives you the guts to do something like that, because you also are very vulnerable, because you never know where the lecture is going. But if you have that backup material and many exercises, you start to play with that. And I must say, personally, I like it much more. Teaching becomes much more fun, and you have more interaction with students. It also means you have to change infrastructure, because I showed you the movie where we were just sitting in the lecture hall. It's more easy to have rooms with small tables where the students are sitting. So if you would introduce this on larger scales, you also have to adjust the infrastructure. And so I was 2 weeks ago at the Singapore University of Technology and Design, and there they had very nice rooms where they were also trying out this concept. They had the rooms, but they didn't have the MOOCs. So, also for teaching and becoming an authority, like 185,000 students in solar energy. With my colleagues, we have written this book, and that already has been sold out at the moment. And everybody is using it. A lot of teachers around the world, because 2% of the people in the MOOCs are just lecturers. And everybody's taking this book, and we get a lot of compliments on this, because this was something, a gap in the market. There was not a decent book for bachelor or master students introducing this important topic. And that's also how you can use these tools to become the authority in the world. So this is like the number of MOOCs worldwide, and you see it's increasing very fast. And I would have expected that the number of students in all MOOCs would already be lower, because there's more competition and more topics being offered. So we are still quite lucky. We are now constant on, for every edition, 30,000 students. But yeah, like renewable energy was a new course. The brand was not really set. There you have 12,000 students. So the number of students are getting less and less and less. So also a lot of people, so yeah, online education is over. I think it's the opposite. We now arrive in an era where all courses become available online. And every teacher can use that. And of course you will pick the best course, or just like you take the best textbook. And it makes teaching easier. You can do more the blended concepts. It gives you more room, and also on the time pressure everybody is in. These are tools to be more effective. But the devil is in details. You have to design it very well. And that is also, when outstanding becomes so easily available, average is over. So it also means that in countries where they don't have the infrastructure to quickly build a good course like that, for them it's a way to quickly increase the level of their education. Another thing we are quite familiar with, for instance, the Sky Team. If I take a flight with KLM, then usually I end up with Delta, or I end up with some other airliner. This is a concept which you also can copy, for instance, on universities. At the moment we are starting an experiment credits for MOOCs. So it means now the big problem of the MOOCs is you cannot really test or see who has done the exam. But now we are with a group of around 10 universities, more than I show over here. And what we are doing is that students can do the MOOCs online. And then in May, for instance, we will do the test with solar energy. In 1 day, at all the universities around the world, the students will do the same exam, written exam. And then they will we have at the moment the first test. We will go to a maximum of 100 students to see if we even have 100 students interested in this course. It also means that the students in Delft can do very interesting courses and expertises of people using them around the world, which we don't have here in Delft. And so that becomes another way, another tool to facilitate our students in their choices. So here you see an example of, I already showed you another plot where we have all the students in the MOOC, but it's also interesting. I have an enormous network of students, and I know exactly where the very good students are around the world. I have now companies coming in, like Arno, we want to start a small dependance in that country. But yeah, the level of education is still poor. Therefore, I have 30 people who are capable of understanding these kind of topics. So it also becomes an part of marketing tool. And if you only look for solar energy at the moment we have around 2 to 2.5 million jobs in the world already in this. And this will very fast grow in 2030 to 10 million engineers we need worldwide. And so it also means that we have a lot of professionals who need to be educated, and that's another experiment what we're doing. So in March we will start with our prof eds, so education professional. So these are paid courses where we offer our program which we developed here on campus for professionals. And I've spoken to many companies around the world, and there's a lot of interest in this. And then you start to have a business model where you can maybe earn some money on education if you have the correct market or something like that. And here our philosophy is not to offer it for a big price. I believe we are going for something like $295. And so for professionals or for a boss in a company, that's not much money for only one module. So that's an experiment, but also this experience, it means that we build up a network with all those companies. So it's also very good for the university, and we can use that network. But the most important thing, before I finish, is that at the moment, for instance, I have a department where at the moment now like 4 professors are working on the solar energy course. We have another 4 working on a prof ed for electrical engineering and the smart grids. We have a lot of people who are very critical looking at education. And I think the biggest progress we've made here at Delft is that this online investment has been a good tool for teachers to critically look at their education and improve their education. And I think that is the biggest gain we had over the last 3 years. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and ending with a nice slogan: is knowledge is the only thing that is growing when shared, and an online tour is the ideal tool to do that worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arno. There is just time for a few questions. Oh, there, over there.
So there's a lot of experience here at the Is there also something available for our universities, like what to do, how to avoid?
Yeah, so
I think you repeat the question.
The question was like there is already the last 3 years we built up a lot of experience in making online education, and so is there also a possibility for other parties to learn from our experience? I knew that the Delft, the extension school or online department, they have on daily basis almost visitors of all around the world in the Netherlands, and they are happy to share their experience.
One more question. Oh, there.
I was wondering about to use the MOOC for on-campus teaching. Usually last speakers showed that the rates were higher, etc. But I also noticed that the classical lectures were in a course of over 200 students, and the course where you use MOOC was with only 60-something students. Do you also have experience with using this kind of teaching with larger cohorts of students?
So yeah, now this was relatively small, but what I forget to tell is the advantage, to my opinion, of this flipped classroom is that you give them more flexibility in how they interact with this course, because every student is different. We have several students who just look at the material line and the book and they say like, that's enough. Huh? And on the, online there's also exercises, and the exercises also distribute what we do, and they say like, I can do that myself. We also have those students, so that's fine. So you facilitate them. But you also have the students which are more struggling, and these they really realize, oh, it's really benefiting if I show up in those lectures and so on. But we have different types of students, and you have a larger flexibility of facilitating to their personal needs. Yeah. It's not a holy grail, because here it's also the devil is in the details. So it means that in the lecture room you have to present completely different material, but they cannot find anywhere, because after 2 lectures it's like, well, I'm not showing up anymore. Yeah.
Thank you very much. In view of the time, I would like to finish, but maybe we'll be around also at lunch.
Yeah.
So if you have more questions, you can just address them during lunch. Thank you very much again.